next session, let me uh, bring this session in terms of what we are talking about. Expert talk session is what this session is all about. And before I introduce the speaker, this is about a session where we are talking about, and this is all in congruence with what we've been seeing in terms of how the different, I would say, aspects of quad are getting addressed on a strategic level, whether it's about the GCCs or new age or the traditional enterprises. The expert talk session is titled Decision Making at Scale, Building a Foundation for Data Commerce. And to deliver the session, we have Satyakam Mohanty, Chief Product Officer for Fosfor. Sati, as he's fondly known. Let me give a context about Sati in terms of his professional credentials. With over 20 years of experience in the field of insights and analytics, Sati is a firm believer in the intersection of the algorithm and the product. As the Chief Analytics, or rather Chief Product Officer, my bad, for Fosfor, the Integrated Data to Decision Product Suite by LTI, Sati is responsible for Fosfor's roadmap, vision, and go-to-market strategy. Prior to joining LTI, Sati was living his entrepreneurial dream as the founder and CEO of Limbic, a specialist AI, machine learning, and advanced analytics startup acquired by LTI. In his current role, Sati continues his passion for building the best of the breed enterprise products to accelerate the data to decision journey for enterprises. Recognized previously as Business World's Business Owner of the Year and in the latest 3 AI Makers list, Sati is also an active supporter of the startup community as an advisor and investor. Over to you, Sati. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samir. Very glad to be here. Thanks for playing that video. It's very interesting to see things that you build come up on forums like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a presentation up more for background, and then I'm going to dive right into. Just let me know if it's visible. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Sati, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to ask that mandatory question in this age of remote connectivity. Thank you for giving me the space here. And what I want to talk a little bit about is, given where we are, given the forum that we are part of, the company that we are in right now, all of you folks who are here right now, decision making, right, and better decision making is the end goal for everything that we are talking about. And what I want to talk about is, how do you do that at scale, right? And how do you create a foundation to do that? And we have an interesting terminology that we use called data commerce. And what does that mean, right? So let me start with, what is commerce, right? Commerce till the 19th, actually till the late 20th century even, was defined by a place of business. It was a shop, it was a store, it was somewhere you went to consume a service or buy a product. And a successful organization was one that had the most number of locations. It was as simple as that. Now, what the 21st century has done is it's turned this whole thing on its head, right? And it has done it on this twin waves of cloud and digital. Now, what cloud has done is it has, it's brought the customer, the consumer, the customer closer to us, to the organization. And what digital has done is, in turn, taken us closer to the customer, right? Completely changes the paradigm. So today, if you really look at it, a successful organization is not necessarily the one that's there in most locations. A successful organization is in fact one that actually makes decisions faster and with a greater probability of a predictable outcome. Right? That's what we are talking about. And in fact, if you extend that even further, you could probably describe the modern organization as a collection, as an agglomeration of decisions that are taken from the boardroom down to the shop floor every day. And that is, what we refer to as data commerce, right? And for us, if you look at it, it's not about being able to just um, create money out of this, right, or monetize data. It's about really doing everything better. That is truly the promise of what we mean by data commerce, and it's happening all around us. We look at you look at Walmart or Walgreens. They're using weather to predict demand. GE, my alma mater, is using sensors extensively to improve processes, drive efficiency. In fact, GE has estimated that if we use data well, it could drive a 1.5 percentage productivity. What does that really mean? It means that in 2 decades, the national income levels, this is they modeled it for the US, can go up by 30%. That's the effect a data can have when you do it at scale, right? Now, how do you make it happen? There's capability, there's process, there's technology, right? I'm sure pretty much everybody who's here will guess those already. But are they really? Right? And that's what I want to talk about. Right? So let's start with capability. So when we talk about capability, uh, and it includes everything. It includes the knowledge systems that we are creating, the people that we have in our organizations, the way we bring them up into the system, and we build their career paths. And all of this capability is designed to drive differentiation. But if everybody is doing it, where is the differentiation? Right? And that answer lies in speed, which means that it's not enough to build capability because everybody is doing it, trust me, right? But you have to be able to bring it to bear at speed, right? Think about it. If your data engineer can do their data operations 75% faster, if your data scientists can build their models in 80% lesser time than they do today, build and deploy, right? Deployment takes time too. Or or the decision maker, the functional decision maker, gets their decision inputs 90% faster, right? What does that do to your time to market? That is where the incredible differentiation will come from. Now, is that alone, right? Think about it. If we just think about speed without control, that's like asking for a speeding ticket or worse, right? So the key to be able to drive, um, monetization and outcomes from speed is to be able to underpin it with trust and reliability. If I had $1 for every time a client would say, "Oh no, my data is, you know, it's not entirely trustworthy. It's not entirely complete. There's a little bit of, you know, problem with what we can use, what we can't use." If I had $1 for every time I heard that, trust me, LTI's considerable market cap would have gone up significantly, right? So, so what does that need, right? So if you look at it, when we think about it today, this trust and reliability, these process controls come from largely policies and frameworks that we put in place. But how closely integrated are there with your systems, right? Which brings me to technology. Because when you think about it, right, for you to get it to be able to get to scale, and to be able to get to scale in a reliable, trustworthy way, right, you cannot do it without technology and the right technology, right? So we're talking about shifts that we are seeing. We're seeing shifts from monolithic stacks to microservices architecture. What is that doing? Right? Think about it. Right? I mean, it's a bit of jargon, but what is it doing? What it's really doing is that it is allowing organizations to control and put the governance mechanisms in place, but at the same time, democratize the data that is available to end users, right? And we got to ask ourselves this question, right? Is our technology just enabling, or is it actually accelerating? Is it smart? Is it fungible? Is it allowing my users to feel truly empowered? Which brings me to the last bit, right? So when you think about capability, process, and technology coming together, right? What is lying in the center of it? In the center of it, if you really think about it, is the individual. And all of this is not going to work till that individual is truly empowered, right? And that needs a cultural shift, right? Or that will create the cultural shift. Now, how do you do that? At every stage, we have to ensure that the individual is in the center. Technology for technology's sake or process for process sake is not going to cut it, right? I was hearing Rohini talk about low code, no code platforms, right? So there's this very interesting thing we see, right? We see in today's world there is there is a class divide, right? There is the haves, right? The haves are the folks who are the data custodians, right? They control who sees the data, who doesn't see the data. And then there are the have-nots. These are the hungry users who want to use that data to do, to create agility in their decision making. How do you balance the two, right? So do you have, for example, a distributed architecture that allows you to keep your governance in place, to have for the system to acknowledge data lineage so that you can trust it. At the same time, the data is available to users in the form and at the time that they need, right? And that, if you really see, right, the haves and the have-nots, is you got to solve for that, right? The second part that I see is folks who are I can code in my sleep, right? And then there are folks who are, I need, can we cut to the insights? How do you cut that divide out? That's where low code, no code products come in, or tools come in. And it is very important for us to not just democratize this by having the right framework and approach, but also the right enabling tools, so that we are truly democratizing and not creating a greater divide, right? So what I wanted to do was spend, very quickly, and I'm not going to walk you through all the stuff that we do. Love to talk to you about it separately, but I'll just tell you, how the right products in for the right problems can truly change things, right? The most interesting one we have here is our Central Tax Authority, 300 million taxpayer base that India has, right? This is, data is coming in from 20,000 sources, right? And 300 million people, 6,000 officers on the ground. And you need a system that can handle that scale, but is agile and creates the right level of data accessibility for these officers to do their jobs. And what's the result? A 5% increase in tax base. That's massive, right? You look at what we did doing for a major CPG organization, one of the top two CPG organizations. So you know you can guess. And what were we doing there? What we're trying to do there is that classic problem that I was just talking about. You have data that's sitting in multiple silos, and that data needs to be used to identify new opportunities that are emerging. Now you have a whole bunch of brand managers, category managers who want to go and be able to identify those opportunities. Now, how do you give them the tools to be able to do that, but at the same time ensure that it happens in a systematic manner and in a way that it can be instantly consumed, right? And we've done that, and this is created opportunities worth $600 million in the last, you know 18 months or so. It has saved 50,000 analyst hours, right? With a 90% faster. time to decision making. And there's a bunch of these examples. I'm not going to sort of, you know, I would love to, but there's huge amount of work that's happening in banking, in healthcare, in manufacturing, at every stage of that data journey, right? So things that we're doing in unlocking value from unstructured data, things that we're doing in creating the right tools and infrastructure for building and deploying AI models, right? But the net bottom line here that I wanted to leave you folks with is the choice of what you use um, is very important, right? Because ultimately, for decisions to happen, and decisions to happen at speed, at scale, and with a certain amount of reliability that you want, the individual needs to be empowered, right? And that's at the heart of it all, right? I'm going to finally leave you very briefly with where we think this world is going. A lot of this is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to spend oodles of time on it. But I want to stay away from the jargon. So when we say holistic data fabric, what we're really saying here is that organizations have to move away from looking at a task, solving for tasks, to actually looking at entire data journeys by different persona, right? AI ML are permeating new use cases. We know that. A lot of folks here belong to large organizations, so you know that. But what is happening now is auto ML and low code, no code environments are allowing even SMB enterprises to start using AI at scale, right? Now, when you do that, it begs the question on how do I trust it? So, explainable and ethical AI, the fate of AI literally is in the hands of AI, right? So, fair, accountable, transparent, and ethical. This is going to get more and more critical as we go. It's going to take center stage now. And then finally, as technology changes, and it's literally changing by the time you put something in and you flip the switch, it's time for a new technology. So what's very important is that we acknowledge the technical debt, and therefore look at products, look at a stack that can work with what's already there, that can work across environments, that can work across technologies, so that your amount of technical debt is reduced, is manageable. And then finally, something close to my heart, the rise of the augmented consumer, which means that we look at, we will see not just C-suite and senior leaders becoming more empowered through insights, but even mid-level and possibly frontline managers having increased access to insights to do their daily decisions and their job better. So I'll leave you with that. I'd love to spend more time with you, but wanted to share this thought with you and hope this was useful.
Thank you so much, Sati. In fact, very precise, on time. That's what exactly we were looking at. And I think that aspect, what you touched upon, from an era of problem solving at scale to an era of decision making at scale, whether it's for a CHO, uh, level, or I would say shop floor person. I think the point of decision making, it's now influenced by data, and data needs to be monetized, harnessed in terms of ensuring that the end aspect of decision making at scale is accomplished. Thank you so much for your time. Really, I would say a very engaging, absorbing session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Samir, for having me here. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.